there seems to be a general consensus on who the worst team in the NFC South is, and I get it. I disagree. I think the worst team in the NFC South, and therefore one of the worst teams in the National Football League, is going to be the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are going to be awful this season. So they barely eke out 9 wins. I mean, there was a lot of games last year with the Saints where just kind of, surviving games just based off of defense, even though the quarterback play, and I was a Derek Carr fan in the past, but I've seen the light. He's an average quarterback. Derek Carr's not going to play well. Dennis Allen is a bad coach. I think now he's the worst coach in the NFL now that Brandon Staley's gone. Alvin Kamara's getting older. I still like Chris Olave. There's some pieces in that offense I like. DeMario Davis defensively. Cam Jordan's still productive. This isn't a team that's getting older. This is a team that's spending way too much on a roster that simply isn't good. The vibes are bad. I mean, the fans won't even ask for Derek Carr's autograph. That's how bad it's gotten in New Orleans. Listen, I know this city is going to host the Super Bowl. They're not be hosting a whole lot of big games other than that. I think the Saints, you're going to see Spencer Rattler this season. That's my only big hot take on the Saints this year. Spencer Rattler will play meaningful snaps this year for the Saints. They, not the Panthers, will be the worst team in the NFC South, and obviously leaves the Carolina Panthers at going 5-12, getting one more win than New Orleans. Here's the thing with Carolina. Is there much to like about their roster? No. But Bryce Young, who I thought would be the second best guy a couple years ago, or rather the third best quarterback in the draft behind C.J. Stroud and my man Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee. Bryce Young has a clean pocket. He's pretty good. Now, the problem is they don't have a clean pocket in Carolina. So you ask, then why are you picking them to go third? Dave Canales. Dave Canales was the offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of helped revitalize Baker Mayfield's career, got Baker Mayfield a nice contract. Okay, and Baker deserves credit for that too, but that was kind of a nice little tandem there in Tampa Bay. Dave Canales also has a history in Seattle. He was the receivers coach there, worked with some of the offensive guys, but what's the common denominator? Seattle with Russell Wilson, Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, now Carolina with Bryce Young. What's the common denominator? Small quarterbacks. Well, Bryce Young fits that mold perfectly. Again, I'm not saying this team's going to do anything special. They're not. I think the Panthers owner, David Tepper, is not only in over his head, but just does not know what he's doing. So this Panthers team is not very good, but I think Canales is a really, really talented young coach. Bryce still has some things I like about him, and I think Canales will get the absolute best. He'll squeeze every single juice out of this orange, and it's not a very big one with the Carolina Panthers. So they won't be dreadful like they were a year ago. They'll be the third best team in the division and better, I think, than the New Orleans Saints. At number 2, I've got the Buccaneers taking a little bit of a step back at 7-10. So listen, we saw what Baker did a year ago, but as you just heard me say, Dave Canales is gone. Mike Evans, for as productive as he is, and I think is a sneaky, look at the numbers, sneaky Hall of Famer, 1,000 yards in every single season of his career. Come on. The wide receiving core is getting older. Todd Bowles is a good defensive coach, does not specialize whatsoever in the offensive side of the ball. So with Canales gone, Baker will still be good. The Tampa Bay will still, maybe they could steal an upset here or there from Atlanta or from another team in the NFC, but a first-place schedule with a roster that almost by default is second best in a terrible NFC South. I just don't buy the Buccaneers this year. They'll still have a good defense because they always have a good defense, but this has always been an offensively challenged franchise. I think they don't make the playoffs this year at 7-10. And that leaves, obviously, to me, one of the easier division winner predictions in the Atlanta Falcons, who I think will go 11-6. So look, we know the addition of Kirk Cousins. That is a drastic upgrade from what they've had really since the end of Matt Ryan's prime. Listen, Kirk is getting older, 36, 37, coming off an Achilles injury. That's a concern. I get that. But again, by default, better than what they had. And also, huge for the Atlanta Falcons. They upgraded their head coach in bringing in Raheem Morris. And we know Sean McVay, and he does have a very big coaching tree, but look at what Kevin O'Connell's done in Minnesota. We see what some of these guys are capable of from those Rams coaching staffs. I really like what Raheem Morris can be able to do, kind of trying to fix that defense for Atlanta, which, by the way, within the last month, added Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons to what I thought was a defense that was slowly improving, getting better, and really keeping them in a lot of games. They just had Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke out there stinking up the joint. Kyle Pitts, this is finally, we've been waiting for it. This is going to be his breakout year. Bijan Robinson is special with the ball in his hands. I'm a big Drake London fan. Great number one receiver on the outside. Listen, Atlanta will lose some questionable games here or there because that's kind of what they do. Atlanta is a very weird team, but they're clearly the most talented team in this division, potentially the best coach team in this division. And I should say by a long shot, because Baker's still good, but I still say pretty comfortably the best quarterback in the division in Kirk Cousins. That's what I got. Atlanta wins the division 11-6, followed by Tampa at 7-10. Carolina, not the Saints, at 5-12 because of Canales. And the Saints, I think, will be awful. There's always one team that feels kind of middle of the road and there's absolutely nosedives. I think that's going to be the Saints. I think they're going to be absolutely positively dreadful. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.